The great archmage Teclis seeks to expand the power and influence of the Lumineth Realmlords and has entrusted Lyrior to lead a campaign across the realms. Accompanied by the Light of Eltharion, the Elven heroes lead a shining host from the great nation of Alumnia, ready to take on any foe that dare face them. Not all enemies want an honest confrontation, however, and the devious Kruleboyz prepare to spring their trap and surround the trespassers. Looking to strike from hiding and use every trick at their disposal, we will soon learn if the mist and shadow will be enough to obscure the light of the Elves.
Hello and welcome to Season of War. Tonight we have an exciting game of Age of Sigmar ahead of us. Not the channel debut, but the second appearance of the Kruleboyz. Though the channel debut of you, Danny, here representing the Grot Gang.
Yeah, shout out to the Grot Gang boys down in Niagara. Hopefully I can do them proud.
Yep. So there's actually supposed to be two of you guys here tonight for a couple games, but Josh backed out and abandoned us. So we definitely just shame him for that for a couple of years at least. But tonight, again, an exciting matchup here. The second time, as I said, we've had the Kruleboyz on, so different matchup facing Lumineth today, so I'm really excited to see how this game goes.
Yeah.
But jumping right into things, the mission we're playing today is marking territory, so a bit of a weird one. You don't see this a lot at events yet, but it's basically like the old Knife of the Heart, but there's 4 objectives. So if at any point after the third battle round or in the third battle round, you hold all of the objectives on the table, you did a major win. If neither player hits that or gets that by the end of the game, then it goes to battle tactics, who completed more, and then grand strategies. If there's no difference in those two, then it's an actual tie. Never seen it happen.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Maybe one day. But just looking at things, do you want to jump in, Danny, and take us through your list first?
Yeah, sounds good. So it's a more or less pretty straightforward Kruleboyz list, but it's got a little bit of flair to it. You know, when the Battle Tome first came out for Kruleboyz, a lot of people were running super sneaky rogue idol, so I think we're gonna maybe try that out a little bit. But starting with our heroes, I've got 2 Swamp Kala Shamans. One has Choking Mist, the other one has Sneaky Miasma, so I can do a hero phase move with a monster.
Nice.
My general is a Snatch Boss on Sludgeraker. He's got Fast Stun for his mount trait, so a hero phase move once per battle. He's got the Super Sneaky Command trait, and then he's Amulet of Destiny for his artifact.
Nice.
Okay, then jumping into battle line, I have 2 units of 10 Gut Rippers, a unit of 6 Bolt Boys, and a unit of 9 Bolt Boys.
Nice.
We got them backed up by a unit of 10 Hobgrots, and then of course the Rogue Idol.
Nice. Obviously playing big yellers then tonight with making the Bolt Boys battle line. So.
Yep, so their battle line, they get the 27-inch range and then 1 reroll per unit in the first battle round as well.
Nice, cool, awesome. Well, for me, I'm playing Alumnia tonight, so this was actually one of my favorite sub-factions with Lumineth, but kind of just with the shifting of the meta going from 2.0 or going from AOS 2 into AOS 3, just kind of fell off, and obviously just the strength of Teclis means you take Sentinels and Teclis. Yep. Neither of which I have tonight, which is exciting.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see. I am running 2 units of 20 Wardens, so obviously they have a ton of output themselves though. A unit of 5 Dawn Riders, a unit of 5 Blade Lords. For heroes, I have the Cathalar, who's my general, has the sub-faction general trait and artifact, not super good or relevant on her, but I do have Eltharion backing her up. And then I have Lyrior, the named Lord Regent, as well as the Lore Seeker, lots of Elves tonight, who's currently off the board waiting to be deployed, which we'll get to in a little bit. Though I could not completely avoid the shooting, I do have 2 Ballistas in my army, and I think that brought me pretty much to 2,000 points on the dot.
Oh wow, so I'll actually get a Triumph at 1995.
Nice, yeah. Though I do have Emerald Life Swarm and the Sanctum Endless spells, so a couple endless spells hopefully help me out. I haven't ran Sanctum in a little bit, so let's see if I can do something nice.
Yeah, it might be useful.
Yeah, for sure. But that's pretty much it for us right now. You are gonna have outdrop me here. You were 1 drop.
I do outdrop you. Now we both have pre-game movement shenanigans.
Actually, yep.
So I think we're just gonna roll off to see who does that first.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, so we're back from our pre-game movements. I moved 3 units and deployed my Lore Seeker. And you got to do a little relocation as well.
Yeah, so I super sneakied the Rogue Idol up. Not too far off the board. I was debating a little bit about just throwing you right in the front lines. I had priority, so I could have just, literally charged them in there and just tied you up. But, that many Wardens and then potentially Dawn Riders coming in for a counter charge, that could definitely kill the rogue idol. So I just put him between these two buildings, hopefully doing some move blocking over here, and then forcing you to, you know, kind of come into me.
Yeah, and you would still get to move, so there was always the chance. Kind of, you put yourself in a position where you could flex either way. You had
exactly.
Still decide what you want to do with the turn. That said, you do have choice how this game starts.
Yes, I do. I think I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Sounds good. So yeah, we'll jump into Lumineth turn 1.
Awesome.
The Kruleboyz use Disappearing Act on the Blade Lords. The Lumineth battle tactic is Aggressive Expansion. The Cathalar fails Heroic Leadership, which the Snatch boss succeeds at. The Cathalar uses Contemplate. Lyrior generates an extra command point from the Voice of Tyrion. Lyrior casts the Greater Power of Hysh on the 2 units of Wardens. The Dawn Riders fail to cast Power of Hysh. The Wardens fail to cast Total Eclipse. The Wardens cast Speed of Hysh on themselves. The Lore Seeker casts Lambent Light but is unbound. The Rogue Idol uses Redeploy, moving 2 inches. The Wardens use At the Double. The Star Shard Ballista deals 7 damage to the Bolt Boys. The second Ballista deals 8 damage to the Bolt Boys. The Rogue Idol uses all of defense, but the Lore Seeker deals no damage. The Light of Eltharion deals 1 mortal wound to the Rogue Idol. The Wardens use Seize the Moment and charge into combat. The Bolt Boys use Unleash Hell, dealing 12 mortal wounds to the Wardens. The Rogue Idol uses Stomp, dealing 1 mortal wound. The Wardens use their Moonfire Flask, dealing 2 mortal wounds to the Bolt Boys and 1 to the Rogue Idol. The Wardens deal 7 damage to the Rogue Idol. The other unit of Wardens kill the Hobgrots. The Bolt Boys deal 4 damage to the Wardens. The Wardens use an Aether Quartz for heightened reflexes, and the Rogue Idol deals 8 damage to them. The Wardens and Bolt Boys both use Inspiring Presence. 6 Wardens flee from Battle Shock.
All right, so Lumineth Realmlords turn 1. Almost said Kruleboyz turn 1. Felt like it with how many Wardens died. But here, yeah, that's the main story right now. Obviously we saw the speed of Alumnia. At the end of my shooting phase and going into my charge phase, I was feeling great. It was looking great. I was taking the board, claiming the field, just like the ability says. But not feeling so great at the end of the turn. Big things though, you did super sneaky or whatever. Disappearing Act, made my Blade Lords go away. Didn't get it on the Dawn Riders.
Yeah, I was really hoping to get it on Dawn Riders just to trap them in your deployment zone, but
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Didn't really end up hurting too much, obviously, with the Blade Lords. Dawn Riders didn't do much anyways, but they're hopefully sneaking around there. And obviously I ended up doing the double move on those Wardens to get them across the field. Threw them in, wanting to get into the Bolt Boys, tie them up. I crippled that unit over there with my ballista shooting, so I was figuring if I can get in there, I'll definitely take some hits in Unleash Hell, but I should be able to keep them tied up and then be chewing through them. All went to plan with like how fast I was moving and the charge and everything, but the Unleash Hell did me in pretty good. I think 12 mortal wounds.
Yeah, Bolt Boys do what they do.
Yeah, so that hurt. I killed one with the flask, and then I didn't really get to put any attacks into them. So while my unit is now crippled, but they're at least tying those Bolt Boys up for your turn. And my hope is just to survive and then not lose priority.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, so obviously huge hit to me losing so many Wardens. Do you have the Dawn Riders? We know though, Kruleboyz are like a squishy army, right?
That's
so
right.
as long as I have like a couple pieces to dish out some damage, which I have the Ballistas and even Eltharion and Lyrior, it's going to be a game. We saw with the Kruleboyz and Deepkin matchup that it was just hit for hit.
Yeah, it can shift the game really, really quickly.
Yeah. So at least I got those units tied up, or that unit of Bolt Boys tied up, and I killed 7 out of 9 of them over there.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah. So that's pretty much where we're at, and I feel like I might lose a couple more Wardens on your turn.
They're gonna die.
Yeah. So we'll just jump into it, going into Kruleboyz turn 1.
The Kruleboyz battle tactic is aggressive expansion. The Snatcha Boss and the Lore Seeker both fail heroic leadership. The Bolt Boys rally but return no models. The Swamp Color Shamans use poison on the Gut Rippers and Bolt Boys. The Bolt Boys finish off the Wardens. The second unit of Bolt Boys deal 2 damage to the Wardens. The Rogue Idol finishes off the Wardens.
Okay, so Kruleboyz turn 1, it was pretty quick, but it was also quite efficient. As you guys can tell, there's no more Wardens on the board.
This is true. Yep. You killed a lot more on my turn, though.
This is, I mean, there wasn't too much left to kill, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was locked in combat. He still had 10 more attacks coming at you, or 8 more attacks coming at you, but I didn't need him. I was able to wipe out the 4 Wardens that were tying these guys up with just these 2, because I was able to poison them, and then they were able to do just a couple damage over there.
Yeah,
chip it down,
freed them up though, which was potentially big.
Exactly, so next turn, I can give them some poison too and everything like that. I just try to kind of block this objective off here a little bit just because they are poisoned, so if you're getting priority and you're coming in, then they'll hit a little bit harder. Yeah,
you'll at least hit me back.
Maybe, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Nice and quick.
Yeah, it was quick. Not much to say. Obviously, again, Kruleboyz, they have the output, so if you can't avoid them or get into them real quick, it can be spicy.
It can hurt,
Yeah, and we'll jump into priority here.
Cool. Yeah,
that's a 5.
All right, you win.
Fortuitous, because we'll try and extend the game a little longer. I'm gonna have play here, I think. Now that I win priority, hopefully I'll be able to take all the Bolt Boys off. But we'll see. Just jumping right into it with Lumineth turn 2.
The Lumineth battle tactic is Ferocious Advance. Eltharion uses Heroic Leadership, which the Snatcha Boss fails. The Kruleboyz use Rally on the Bolt Boys, returning 3 models. Lyrior fails to cast Mystic Shield. The Lore Seeker fails to cast Laminate Light. The Cathalar casts Protection of Hysh but is unbound. The Cathalar casts Darkness on the Souls on the Gutrippas. The Dawn Riders cast Speed of Hysh on themselves. Eltharion uses At the Double. The Ballista deals 4 damage to the Boltboyz. The other Ballista deals 4 damage to the Boltboyz, and Eltharion finishes another one off. Eltharion uses Seize the Moment, but fails his charge. Well, he definitely didn't seize that moment. The Rogue Idol stomps, dealing 1 mortal wound to the Dawn Riders. The Rogue Idol uses All Out Defense, and the Lore Master deals 1 damage to it. The Dawn Riders deal 2 damage to the Rogue Idol. The Rogue Idol deals 1 mortal wound to the Lore Master. Well, that's embarrassing. The Boltboyz use Inspiring Presence.
All right, Lumineth turn 2. Again, I needed priority to have a shot, and I just was not able to capitalize on it. Big things that happened. You brought back 3 Boltboyz. Yep. Actually, and that unit only has 3 now after my shooting. So big because, yeah, I could have potentially wiped out the Boltboyz, but that's obviously rally's good. You had done it on your turn, didn't get any back, so averages out. I did kill like 6 Boltboyz in total, or 5 or, yeah, I think 6. Yep. And that helps. So my real hope was to neutralize both the Boltboy units. Darkness of the Soul of these guys, which I did get off, yep, as well as putting -1 Bravery on them, so I should be able to lock down those Gutrippas. And then I wanted to finish off the Rogue Idol, which buffed up, well, not buffed up Eltharion, but I ran and charged him, auto-ran him 6, so spent 2 CP just to get him across the board into there, set him up perfectly to do some damage. But he snake eyes his charge roll, and because the Alumnia command ability to be able to run and charge is in the charge phase, you don't get rerolls. So yeah, that hurts.
Yeah, that was tough.
I threw my stuff in just for like a last ditch effort. Did probably only 2 wounds to him, or 1 or 2. But thankfully he did no damage in return. So that was, I guess, saving grace. I didn't do anything either, or do enough there. So I got the turn, I killed some shooting, but yeah, just not quite enough.
Yep.
So I'm really just not too optimistic, but hoping to survive your turn again, win another prio, get another stab at it, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yep. Cool, jumping into Kruleboyz turn 2 then.
The Kruleboyz battle tactic is Monstrous Takeover. The Snatchaboss uses their Finest Hour, and the Cathalar uses Heroic Leadership. The Kruleboyz use Rally on the Boltboyz, returning no models. The Swampkala Shamans use their Poison on the Boltboyz. Eltharion uses Redeploy, moving 6 inches. The Lore Seeker uses All Out Defense, and the Boltboyz deal no damage. The Snatchaboss fails his charge. So much for his Finest Hour.
Cool, okay. Pretty lackluster turn for me as well.
Yeah.
I fell back with the Rogue Idol, just kind of thinking ahead into turn 3 that maybe I'd be able to push him up into there, and then I was hoping that he just wouldn't die in combat to you. So
Yeah.
I only got 4 wounds left. Set up my Snatcher boss with Finest Hour, as well as poisoned him.
Yeah.
You redeployed Eltharion.
To keep him safe.
Yeah.
Just he can't stand up to mortal wounds.
No, and you know you got that big 6, so you pull him right out of there.
Yep.
I needed a 4-inch then because he fell back to get into the Lore Seeker, and of course I rolled a 1 and a 2 as well.
Yep.
So both of our turn 2s were.
It's funny, I didn't talk you into it, but mentioned the potential. You had 1 CP this turn of doing rally, and you ended up rallying. You're like, oh, I'll make the charge.
Yeah. I'm like, I might need it, but nah, it's you know.
You went for the rally, didn't get any guys out of it.
Yeah, it was a good trade.
That's how it always
notch.
goes, though.
Top notch.
Yeah.
But that's the way she goes.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we're just leading into turn 3 actually, which is pretty big. So, yeah, 2 and 2 on objectives. So not too much there, but we'll jump into priority. That's a 1.
4. I'm gonna have to take this.
Okay. Sounds good. So I get to burn an objective. You know what? I'll burn this one over here.
Okay.
And we'll just play with these 3 objectives left.
Cool.
All right. So that's it.
All right.
Jumping into Kruleboyz, turn 3.
The Kruleboyz battle tactic is broken ranks. The Snatcher boss uses heroic leadership, and the Lore Seeker uses their finest hour. The Kruleboyz use rally on the Bolt Boys, returning 1 model. The Swampcalla Shamans use poison on the Gut Rippas and Bolt Boys. The Dawn Riders use redeploy, moving 1 inch. The Bolt Boys deal 3 mortal wounds to the Dawn Riders. The second unit of Bolt Boys finish off the Dawn Riders. The Rogue Idol kills the Lore Seeker.
Okay. Kruleboyz turn 3. A little bit more eventful.
Yeah.
I was able to do broken ranks on the Dawn Riders there, just with the Bolt Boys. And then I was actually able to charge in all 3 of these units into the Lore Seeker. I debated calling the Kruleboyz WA to make all my units fight before you do, but I figured that'd be kind of pointless.
Need it. Yeah.
So I just finished them off with the Rogue Idol. Finally, he did something, killed a tiny little hero, right? But it was pretty big, and I mean, you're running out of bodies here.
Yeah.
You burning that objective, like we were just talking about. You know, I have to protect this 1 objective while taking 2 of yours, while you just have to take 1
Potentially,
back to potentially win the game. So we'll see how it goes.
Not impossible.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting game for sure.
Yeah. Obviously, like you said, running out of resources though. But hopefully this turn, Eltharion's going to do something. And yeah, with that, you did get your broken ranks.
Yep.
So you did kill a battle line. So again, that's the #1 tiebreaker should neither of us get the major win. But we're still fighting for it. So we'll jump into Lumineth Realmlords, turn 3.
The Lumineth battle tactic is bring it down. Lyrior and Snatcher boss both use heroic leadership. The Kruleboyz use rally on the Bolt Boys, returning 1 model. Lyrior generates a command point with Voice of Tyrion. The Cathalar fails to cast Protection of Hysh. The Cathalar casts Darkness of the Soul on the Snatcher boss. Lyrior casts Arcane Bolt. The Rogue Idol uses redeploy, moving 1 inch. The Ballista deals 8 damage to the Bolt Boys. The Ballista deals 5 damage to the Gut Rippas. The rogue idol stomps, dealing 2 mortal wounds to Eltharion. The rogue idol uses all of defense. Eltharion uses an Aether Quartz for heightened senses and finishes off the rogue idol. The Blade Lords deal 3 damage to the Snatcher boss. The Snatcher boss cannot fight because of Darkness of the Soul. Lyrior deals 1 damage to the Snatcher boss.
All right, so Lumineth turn 3 here. Again, no store with this mission, but I hit back pretty good.
Yep.
Big things, obviously I killed the road idol with Eltharion, so finally got him finished off. Though Eltharion got stomped and fallen on, taking 5 mortal wounds in total, so that's not good for him. And otherwise, I got Darkness of the Soul off on your general, so that's allowed me to throw my stuff in and just start doing some chip damage to him to slowly kill him off.
Yeah, I mean, that's big because if I was able to hit back,
They'd be
all your battle line might be gone.
Yeah, oh, for sure. So yeah, I'm in just again trying to kill stuff. I also shot at the Bolt Boys with one of the guys, killed 3 or 4.
4, yeah.
So again, you're down to 2 Bolt Boys, 1 in each unit again, but can't finish them off, so you're still able to rally. The 1 unit of 9 has 1 wound on the last guy.
Yep.
And I actually tried to finish him off both with Eltharion and the Lord Regent. Both of them like hit on 2s on their attack or ability. Rolled 1 on both of them, so not quite there today. So that could be big with a potential to keep. You've already rallied like 4 or 5 guys back throughout the game on that unit.
Yeah, at least something like that. Yeah.
So could keep doing it, but priority is going to be big, as always. 5. Ooh, well, I didn't take it.
There you go.
Yeah. Let's see what we can do. We'll jump into Lumineth Realmlords. Turn 4.
The Lumineth battle tactic is broken ranks. Eltharion uses their finest hour, and the Snatcher boss uses heroic leadership. The Kruleboyz use rally on the Gut Rippers, returning 1 model. The Cathalar casts Emerald Life Swarm, healing 3 wounds to Eltharion. The Cathalar casts Arcane Bolt. Lyrior casts Speed of Hish on himself. The Gut Rippers use redeploy, moving 5 inches. Looks like he gets 2 models on the objective. The Gut Rippers use all of defense, and the ballistas deal 3 damage to them. Eltharion deals 4 mortal wounds to the Gut Rippers. The second ballista shoots but deals no damage. The Cathalar uses Seize the Moment and charges in. The Snatcher boss stomps, dealing 2 mortal wounds to the Cathalar. The Cathalar unleashes the Arcane Bolt, dealing 1 mortal wound to the Bolt Boy. The Cathalar deals 2 damage to the Snatcher boss. The Snatcher boss finishes off the Cathalar.
All right, so really interesting turn 4 here for Lumineth. I went for the win, as you guys would have seen. Didn't quite get it. Couple reasons, both you with the redeploy as well as a couple of mistakes on my end, or one namely, just not realizing something, but jumping into it. Obviously I went here for the objective, trying to get the bodies on and kill enough Gut Rippers. Really had the bodies because of where they were. You didn't have any guys on it, which meant I took it, but I couldn't get there without giving you the potential redeploy. Now, I did Speed of Hish to actually zone out your guys from just piling straight onto it. But with your redeploy, you rolled a 5 or a 6.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're able to get 2 guys sneaking onto the edge, which I knew that there would be some potential, or if I didn't get speed of Hish off. And that's why I kind of set up to do Broken Ranks as backup. Now, the mistake I made was I did not realize Eltharion was like just barely within 3, so he was still in combat. So I was expecting or relying on his damage output to be able to finish off that unit. You know, if I was able to charge him in there also, that's another 2 bodies on there. He's killing stuff, very likely take it.
Yep.
So none of that really went to plan.
Yeah, it was literally by like an 1/8 of an inch too that I was able to get onto the objective and just continue to hold it. So.
Yeah, and we were talking about like you had another guy on here, but knew it was going to die, but you only needed the 2. Though it did stop me from like throwing anything else on over here, any other heroes for more bodies. But again, you with 5 guys left, that hurt. Otherwise, I healed up Eltharion just so he can hopefully have a bigger part in the game. I did charge in my Cathalar. And then I wanted to charge her over here to like unleash her arcane bolt in combat and then maybe chip a damage or 2. If that all went off, she could have like done 4 damage pretty easily. Not easily, but good chance. And she did it between her arcane bolt and the damage to your general. But didn't make her long enough charge there.
Yep.
So I threw her in here. 1, it put me in range to do the arcane bolt on your last bolt boy.
Yep, and that's from the squad of 9 too.
So the bigger rally. Yep. And it also meant she was going to die, which isn't the worst thing for battle tactics.
Yep.
It denies Slay the Warlord. And now that I have dropped a battle tactic here this round, could come down to it, yeah. And that's pretty much where we're at right now. So I think with that, we'll just be jumping into Kruleboyz turn 4.
Yep.
The Kruleboyz battle tactic is Conquer. The Snatcher boss fails heroic leadership, which Eltharion succeeds at. The Swampcalla fails to cast Mystic Shield. The Swampcalla casts Sneaky Miasma on the Snatcher boss. The Gut Rippas use at the double.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, another pretty quick turn for the Kruleboyz.
Quite quick, barely into the movement phase.
Yeah, didn't really do anything else except for do some movement shenanigans in the hero phase, preventing you from redeploying there. I got Sneaky Miasma off. You almost unbound it, but I was able to get that off. Even if you unbound it, I could have done it with my fast on trade.
Yep. But lets you tag the objective, get 5 bodies on, and like you said, not having the chance to redeploy to tie you and deny it. It's big.
It's big. It's really big.
You still very well could have killed them in combat and taken it, but you don't even have to.
Yeah, it has that challenge, and I notoriously whiff with that guy anyway too.
Yeah.
So, and then I was able to auto advance those guys, get them onto the objective, getting Conquer. But it doesn't even matter. I'm still holding this objective from last turn. I get the 2 in your zone.
Yep. So that's all
getting
3.
win. Yep.
Yeah. So that's a big win. So good solid win here for Kruleboyz.
Yeah, it's a fun match, back and forth though. I thought you were going to take it. This was super, super close.
Yeah, that was when I one priority there. I'm like, okay, I have that option.
Yeah.
Especially getting the speed of Hish off. Gave me a really good chance to get in there. But the redeploy, it kept you the objective, and that was game winning.
Yep.
Yes. You roll, I think you're, like you even said, roll 4 or something.
Yeah, anything less than what I rolled, I would have been out of it.
Cool. No, that's fun though. Good tight game here. Actually, tighter after turn 1 than, it didn't look good at the start.
No, it did not. It did not, yeah.
But it was nice to be able to fight in Lumineth. Like, they do have play, and it helps that you're not you're a pretty squishy army as well, so I can, even my heroes were doing a little bit. Eltharion was trying his best.
Yeah, it's back and forth, right, in this kind of matchup.
Oh yeah, for sure. But you've played quite a bit with the Kruleboyz now, between a couple events in our area, and I guess I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Kruleboyz and kind of the build. I know this is the first time you've ran the Rogue Idol.
Yeah, that's right. I've got probably about 30 or 40 games with the Kruleboyz since they've come out. I speed painted everything for an event when everything dropped, and then I got another 9 Bolt Boys in when those got released, so that I speed painted that again for another event so I could run the the double squad of 9. They're a super fun army, right? The mortal wound output is fantastic. Like, you have the potential to take out, at least half of an opponent's army, in just one turn of shooting, if you're spiking and if you're getting in range. They're really limited on the range, though, unfortunately, right? The max shooting range that you're getting is the 27 inches when you're in big yellers, but even that, too, you can't move with it, so you're not getting that added threat range of the 5-inch move on top of that, too. So it's really limited, when you compare it to things like Sentinels that get the 30-inch range, up to 36 inches, and then with the move, and then long strikes and all that kind of stuff, too.
Yeah, I think the Bullboys definitely have more output, especially in the Mortals, definitely more damage, but so the limitations, though, are harder to play around, I guess.
It's a trickier army. You kind of have to play it like a Counter-Strike army. But again, it's difficult depending on the matchup. Like, if
we saw even 2 catapults nearly, crippled your Bolt Boys.
Yeah, that's right. And they just constantly kept wearing them down. Like, it took them a while to kill them, but end of the day, they're ballistas, right? They're not even,
there's 250 points for 2 of them, so.
Yeah, so it's not bad, but I mean, 360 points for a unit of 9 Bolt Boys. On average, they're doing 15, 16 mortal wounds at the double tap range, which is pretty good, and then on top of that is like the regular damage.
Yeah.
Super fun army. It's probably mid-tier. Right?
Yeah.
A good player can take it to top tier level, but on average, you're probably mid to low tier.
Yeah. It's good, middle of the pack book, which is where we want everything to be, right? Where it's got play, but it's not, overpowered. There's armies that it matches up well against, and armies that it doesn't match up well against.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good balanced book. It could use with some point drops. I think, like on the Gut Rippers, like they have to come down. Because without all the buffing, and that's the big thing in an army, is you have to allocate so many points to buff everything for it to get this maximum output. Like, the output is there, but you need, the Snatcher boss, which is 320 points, and then you need the shamans there too. And then there's restrictions on how you can buff them too with the poison. Like, they have to be outside of combat, they have to be wholly within 12 inches and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky army to play with, but it's super fun.
Yeah.
Rogue Idol was interesting too. It didn't do too great in combat for me. I rolled a lot of 1s with him, unfortunately.
The first couple turns, it did nothing, but then it went off the one turn.
It did, yeah. So, the potential's there if you're not rolling poorly like I was.
Yeah.
And then, the nice big base size, and then the super sneaky trick with the Kruleboyz just being able to kind of do some move blocking or, shift some stuff too.
Yeah, it's like a football base.
Yeah, exactly. And that thing weighs a ton. Like, if I'm upset with my opponent, like, you could easily just take him out with that thing. Yeah.
Nice. On my end, I just looking at kind of my build here, it's like, Alumnia is fun, it's cool, but we were talking about it throughout the game, and just what it wants to do and the army you want to build with it is just counterintuitive to how Lumineth plays. Like, running and charging means you're breaking Shining Company. You're also, like, with Wardens, which are really the only hammer unit in the army that's worth talking about. Like, they get their bonuses when they're charged. They want to be defensive. They want to have the Shining Company. So it doesn't. Alumnia is cool and maybe more to my playstyle when I was coming from Deepkin, but it just doesn't. It's counterintuitive again. It doesn't really gel with what the army wants to do, and we kind of saw that. Like, again, not having the -1, the Wardens went down super quick, as well as the Mortals. So I definitely felt the loss of not having Teclis in my list with the the ward save. Protection of Hitch or protection of Teclis aura, and even when you're running and charging, you're like getting out of all the aura ranges. So even if I cast protection of Teclis or Hitch turn 1, which I considered and didn't bother, they would have been it wouldn't have done anything for me. So interesting, definitely ways to optimize it, but it just doesn't feel like it really fits with the army.
No, it's fun to try out, for casual play, but like when you get into again higher tier armies too, and like here it was going toe to toe and stuff, but again, mid range army.
And that's honestly I think that's where Lumineth is, especially when they're not like heavily relying on Teclis and Sentinels. Teclis and Sentinels make them like a really good book, but like outside of those 2 units, they don't just have the bones aren't in the army kind of thing. So it's tough. I wish Dawn Riders were better, and you could see like an Alumnia army with like 30 Dawn Riders. How epic would that be?
That would be awesome. Yeah, I think they should go up to three wounds apiece probably.
If they were 3 wounds apiece, and they just had like average damage against all units, not only like right now they're okay against 2 wound units. They're good against 1 wound units. They're trash against everything else.
Right.
So you can't make an army out of them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that would be amazing. That's, I'm always a sucker for cavalry.
Oh yeah, and I mean the speed on them is like phenomenal.
Yeah, so having like a couple units of those would be a lot of fun. But maybe in a future edition, I'm sure Lumineth will get another book either this year or next year, or maybe 2 this year.
Yeah,
again.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. But I think that's it for us here tonight. Danny, thank you so much for coming down for the game. It was a blast, as you said. So hope you guys enjoyed this match as much as we did. Kruleboyz now are undefeated on the channel with this. So yeah, close game here. Snuck it in the end though. So we'll definitely have to get some revenge at some point.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks, Jordan, for having me on here. And then hopefully we can get more of the guys up here too.
Yeah, definitely got to get more of the Drop Gang. Nick and Josh looking at you guys. Get your butts out here. But don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It goes a long way in terms of helping support the channel, getting our content in front of more people. And if you want to take it a step further, hit the join button below the video to learn a little bit more about our premium membership, get access to more battle reports, more fun stuff. That's pretty much it. So we'll see you soon in another battle report.